Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Behaaloscha. This Dvar Torah is adapted from the words of the Shvilei Pinchas, Reb Pinchas Friedman Shlita, from his weekly Divrei Torah. And our Parsha begins for our topic in Perek Yud Aleph Pasuk Chaf Vav by Yisharu Shnei Anashim B'Machaneh Shem Ha'echad Eldad V'Shem Sheni Medad. There was these two people remaining in the camp. Their name was Eldad and Medad. They were famous for the nevuah that they gave, that Moshe Mace v'Yoshua Machnes, that Moshe would pass away and Yoshua would take over and lead the Bnei Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael. When Yehoshua heard this, he got upset and he told Moshe Klaim, he said, punish them, put them in jail, perhaps even destroy them. And that is the famous nevuah of Eldad and Medad. The Gemara in Chagiga tells us about these two mutes. They lived in the neighborhood of Rebbe, who was Mesader the Mishnayos, and they would come to his lecture all the time, try to get front seats. They'd be constantly nodding and mumbling, even though they couldn't speak, but their lips would be moving. And eventually, Rebbe prayed for them, and they were able to speak once again. And it turns out that they knew Torah. They had learned everything that they got from Rebbe. So the Rabbi Pano, the Kabbalist, says that who are these two people? These two mutes. These two mutes were Eldad and Medad. Why? Because they had a nevuah that they were not commanded to share. It didn't say lemor. Vaydaber Hashem Moshe lemor means Moshe is told to tell over something to other people, and here they weren't told to tell their nevuah to someone else. Therefore, they shouldn't have said it. And since they spoke when they shouldn't and got Yoshua upset, therefore they had to come back again and they had to learn Torah without being able to speak. Once they did their tikkun, then Rebbe was able to pray for them and they were able to speak again. However, I'd like to focus on a different approach to why these two were mutes and came back as a reincarnation as mutes. And that's based on the fact that they actually were supposed to share this nevuah. They realize that the nevuah is not meant to be kept to themselves. Sometimes a nevuah is meant only for the Navi himself to hear it and improve himself, to grow, and not to share it with anyone else. But this type of nevuah, with the bad news of something like Moshe Mace or Yeshua Machnes, what purpose could be for them to keep it to themselves? Therefore, they rightly surmised that they were supposed to go into the camp and share this nevuah. So the Bechor Shor, who is a Talmud Muvak of Rabbeinu Tam, he explains the circumstances, a little bit of background of Eldad and Medad. In that same Perek Yud Aleph, Moshe was required to choose 70 Zakanim, 70 elders for the Bnei Yisrael. However, with 12 tribes, that didn't fit neatly into 12. It would be 10 tribes with 6 people, and then 2 remaining tribes with 5 people. And those tribes with only 5 Zakanim would get upset at Moshe Rabbeinu. So what did he do? Moshe Rabbeinu drew lots. He put on pieces of paper the fact that it wrote down that Zakain, and the other 2 were left blank. So 70 people would progress to the next level. As it happened, Eldad and Medad were the last ones to pick out the lot. In fact, they chose not to pick out the lot because they knew, either they saw somehow, or they overheard, or they had a Ruach HaKodesh, that 2 of the other people who got the blank sheets did not admit to it, and were pretending that they were the Zakain. And they realized that if they came out and picked out Zakain and they counted up, they'd have to do an investigation. These 2 people would be even more embarrassed about the fact that they were not chosen as Zakainim and that they lied about it. So therefore they said, no, we're not worthy enough. We're not even going to pick up the last 2 ballots from the ballot box. And so Moshe selected the other 72 people and they moved away. And that's why the Eldad and Medad, they were the ones that were nishar in the Machaneh, because they didn't go with the other ones. And even though they were, it says the word Kesuvim, because Kesuvim also means that they were written as Zakain, but they chose not to take it. They really should have been part of these crew. And in fact, the Nevi'im, the Zakainim were Navi only one time because of Moshe Rabbeinu. And these 2 were able to have additional nevuah afterwards, and that was in zechus of the good deed that they did by being modest. If they were modest, then why were they coming back as a Gilgal, as reincarnation, as these mutes? What's the purpose and what's the story behind it? So the answer that's given this time is that when it comes to the situation, what they did, they caused a chilul Hashem, at least on some level. For great people, the standard's always higher. And what happened is they got Yoshua and others were upset at them, thinking that you guys are Nevi'ei Sheker. Where's this Nevuah come from? You're just upset. You're rebelling against Moshe Rabbeinu because you weren't selected amongst the Zakanim. You weren't worthy. So, when a Jew does something wrong, that creates a chilul Hashem. And the only way to get takana from a chilul Hashem before dying is via, it's not enough to have Yisurim and to do tshuva. But one way to be misaking it is by Kiddush Hashem. And that's what Rabbeinu Yonah says. To be misaking a chilul Hashem, you have to do Kiddush Hashem. You have to sanctify God's name after you've desecrated it. So going back to these mutes, so Rebbe saw that the mutes seemed to be very serious about what they were doing. And if you think about it, if someone gives over a shir, or even a short vort, you don't know if they're learning all their Torah for the Shema. Maybe they're doing it for the kavod, for the honor, for the respect, and therefore there's a possibility that it's not the Shema. However, when it came to someone who's mute, they can't speak over the Divrei Torah somewhere else. So whatever they're learning is the Shema. Rabbi picked up on this, that they were learning the Shema, and therefore he prayed for them that they could speak, and it revealed that they were Nikola Torah Kula, and that they learned the Shema. So therefore we see that we have this tikkun for the chilul Hashem on some level that Eldad and Medad created initially. Now they created a Kiddush Hashem, and they were able to be misaking that. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.